Welcome back. New this morning, family homelessness in West Michigan is growing. It often looks nothing like you'd expect.
So Family Promise of West Michigan working to change that. They have a very big event coming up. Jim Davis is their Vice President of Business Development. He's joining us live in the studio this morning. First, let's start off with what homelessness in families looks like. What does that look like in general, but more specifically here in West Michigan?
Thank you for asking, and thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I love being here, and I'm appreciative to be in front of such an amazing audience and viewership that cares about this issue here in West Michigan. When we talk about homelessness, a lot of people immediately are going to go to stereotypes that we've seen in books, TVs, movies, but family homelessness is different. When we have children in a household, there is the fear, of course, of what might happen if people were to find out that I didn't know where I was going to sleep that night.
Yeah.
And so today, right now, this very moment, we have children attending school right now wondering where they're going to sleep this evening. We have moms and dads who made sure they made it to the bus and they're off to their jobs, but also trying to figure out what the next housing application looks like. And so Family Promise of West Michigan is working to make sure that in those very, very invisible spaces out there where family homelessness is increasing, that we're there to make sure we walk alongside those families, find them a safe and secure place to stabilize, and then to find a permanent and positive solution for their housing.
Wow. So lots of different avenues that this looks like, really, it sounds like, and just a lot of different, I guess, mental gymnastics for the people going through this, trying to figure out, one, their next meal, their next sleeping arrangement, and then worrying about the kids. I mean, that's got to be a heavy weight.
As a parent, guardian, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, who's ever taking care of those household, family members, it's traumatic.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. That the experience of homelessness is something that we have already recognized scientifically. We have data to support the fact that the developmental difficulties students, young people face as they're going through their days is significant. So those learning curves become relevant at a very young age, and for the adults trying to navigate the stressors of both a workforce and workplace that the climate feels shifty, a national political climate that feels tenuous and scary, and then the constancy of having to apply for a new housing opportunity, wondering if there's a unit on the other side of that application. You know, the death of 1,000 paper cuts, of application fees.
Yeah.
Those things can be extremely difficult, but Family Promise of West Michigan exists to make sure that they know they have a resource, a place to go, and a wonderful team of people that's going to be there for them throughout every step of the journey home.
Yeah, some good resources.
Yeah, why do you think, Jim, family homelessness is often overlooked in the community?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate in my life. My wife and I have 5 children that we're raising here in Grand Rapids. And when you have the fear of wondering if Child Protective Services may or may not be taking your children, you know, if I'm an individual and I find myself in a hard spot, it is perfectly normal for me to walk to the side of the street, to hold a sign and say thank you in advance. I hope you have a great day. Anything helps. But if I bring one of my 5 children and they're standing next to me, that's a phone call to someone that may or may not be there to investigate if I'm an appropriate parent at this time for my child. And while there is a lot to unpack there, and we could go on and on about it, I'm not going to put myself or my children in that vulnerable position. So family homelessness is actually the fastest growing demographic of homelessness. The last reliable data set we have for 2024 said that there was a 39% increase in homelessness across families with kids. And what we're seeing here in West Michigan is that number starts to represent a very different demographic of people, in that we're no longer looking at single individuals who are expecting a second child, who are struggling to make ends meet financially. What we're witnessing is full-time and dual income households, people who have been stable and inconsistent housing coming up against one thing in a sea of next things that led them into a housing crisis. And we want to make sure that your viewership, that everyone watching today knows that there's a way to be a part of the solution too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, before we dive into the dinner that you're having, which is Thursday.
That's right.
Talk to us about what your organization specifically does. I know that there are some resources that you guys provide, different avenues for help for those folks. So what is it specifically that you guys do?
Family Promise of West Michigan is working to eliminate family homelessness, and we do it one family at a time. We use that phrase to recognize that each family's story is unique. It's a medical episode. It's a job loss. It's a temporary shift in priorities due to an unforeseen circumstance. So Family Promise of West Michigan focuses primarily on the diversion, the prevention of a shelter episode for any family with kids. How do we keep a family out of shelter? We're there when a family is in need of emergency housing, and we are the primary provider of emergency shelter for those families with little kiddos. And then, of course, we work in what we call the stabilization space. That's to make sure that whatever homeless episode may or may not have occurred never occurs again.
Yeah.
So Family Promise is sort of the one-stop shop for moms and dads with kids in the home. And obviously we're connected with so many partner agencies, so many companies and sister and cousin service providers here with wraparound solutions that we always let people know it's not Family Promise that's going to necessarily answer the phone today, but when you get connected into our coordinated entry system through 211, when you call 211 in a crisis, they're going to know if you are a family experiencing this housing crisis with kids, we're going to connect you directly to Family Promise.
I love how it sounds like it's also, you know, in the middle of the crisis, but also the follow-through part of it as well.
Exactly, and the main thing we're talking about today is the dinner coming up on Thursday, so I want to talk about that.
I would love to. First, I need to make sure I thank our presenting sponsor, Eastbrook Homes. The McGraw family is doing such thoughtful leadership in our community. Their leadership team is so affable and thoughtful and intentional about the ways that they're increasing housing here in West Michigan, Kent County, and Ottawa. They recognize that the solutions they're creating are helping alleviate some of this housing pinch, but they also know that they can't do all of it, and that Family Promise is uniquely poised to deal with those family households with kids experiencing a unique circumstance. And so they have helped sponsor our annual Dreams Dinner. So in 2 short days, if you're watching live, we're talking about Thursday night, March 19th at the Goey Center. We're opening the doors at 5:30 for live music and a cash bar to celebrate all of the family stories that we've been working so thoughtfully on throughout the year. Our CEO, Tanisa Fry, has prepared a presentation that's going to help everyone understand where we are today in West Michigan around family homelessness and where we're going. It's such an important event because it's this event that sets us up to get through the last cold days of winter, which we're experiencing right now, and transition into the months that are hardest, where children are no longer in school, and the solutions and opportunities for wraparound supports actually lessen in the warmer months in summer. So the Dreams Dinner on March 19th, presented by Eastbrook Homes, is the #1 way people can get involved to support families with kids who aren't sure where they're going to be sleeping at night.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time left, so I want to make sure that we get to where we can buy tickets, but if we can't go, how can we still help and support your mission?
At the end of Thursday night at the Goey Center, again, doors open at 5:30, dinner at 6:30. We'll be out of there by 8 o'clock. We'll be celebrating with an event called Let's Go Home, our annual Dreams Dinner. You can learn more at familypromisewm.org/dreams. And if you can't make it, now, we saved a few tickets for your viewers because we know how thoughtful the audience is. There are some last minute tickets available just today. So again, get out to familypromisewm.org/dreams. You can learn more, but anyone who can't attend can click on the donate tab. Your gifts made at familypromisewm.org/dreams will go into the tally that we announce at the end of the night when we ring the bell and say, this is how much we as a community raised to make sure that no child is going to wonder, where am I sleeping tonight?
Okay, well, it sounds like it's a great mission, great event that you guys are getting ready to hold there. Jim, we have to leave it there, but we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And we'll have all this information for you on 13onyourside.com.